welcome everybody to another episode of the Top 10. I am John Roca.
I am Matt Nost, and hey,
There you go.
everything that's new that's happening probably has nothing to do with the movie, so we don't have movies to talk about. So what's new with you? Have you found any new TV shows as of late? We're out. We tried so many lately. We're out. We got nothing.
No, but we started Atlanta.
Oh.
Holy shit. That show is fucking excellent, Matt. I don't know if you've seen it.
I have not. I've just heard
dude, Nost, it is your kind of humor. Just let me tell you, man, it is your kind of humor. I think you'll love it. I don't know if Catherine will love it because I haven't seen what kind of humor she likes, but I would definitely recommend it to you, man. It is not what you think at all. It's not just three dudes like, how do we make money? It's way more hardcore. And especially because like we talked about on one of our shows, like your family's in the South, you'll get it. So
Yeah.
I can't recommend it enough. It's on Hulu
right
now.
Great. It's one that I had always wanted to, but when it came out, there was already enough television that we were watching.
Yeah, same thing for me. I was like, I don't have time for this one. And then we were flipping around, and she's a big Donald Glover fan. We just watched his stand-up from like 2012 when he was doing Community, which was really funny. And so from there, we kind of, let's give a shot to Atlanta. Because I thought it was going to be like, hey, how do we make money? Drama. But it's way more like fucking crazy funny than you expect, and also real about the situation that they're in. So yeah, can't recommend it enough.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. Good. We've tried everything, man. Literally everything. All creatures great and small.
Oh shit. That's all. Oh
yeah. Dude, 22 minutes in, and Kath and I both went, nope.
Yep. Agreed.
30 Coins. Have you seen that?
No. What is 30 Coins?
So it's a HBO Spain show. And it has to do with the 30 Roman coins that Judas was given to betray Jesus.
Yeah, the silver coins, yeah.
Yeah, so now they're cursed or something along those lines. We made it about 18 minutes into that, and we were like, nope.
Not our jam.
It's weird, but some of the acting to me is terrible.
Yeah.
But the reviews are through the roof. So you're like, this thing only can get better. But I'm out after 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Agree,
man. I started telling, because I'll come out and I'll just flip around at night, and she gets super frustrated by that. So I've started telling her, like, while I'm doing my shows from that 5 to 7 time frame, you get on those streaming services and you create a playlist, because every time I start hunting around, you get frustrated, and I'd rather us shorthand it with you creating a list of TV shows you might be interested in, and then I come out, take a look at them, and see if one of them grabs my interest, because I think I have a little more of wider palette than she does. So that makes it easier for me, because I'm there's like 5 things I suggest every time I flip around and she doesn't want to watch them. So it's frustrating.
Why, they're the same 5 things?
No, that's sometimes it'll be different, and I'll be like, okay, let's try this, let's try that, and just not her thing sometimes. So
right.
Like we're on a Jeopardy kick now.
See, I could do that as interspersing, like watch 2 Jeopardies or something, and then watch something like a real drama. I couldn't watch 3 straight hours of Jeopardy.
We did the other night. We watched 4 hours of Jeopardy.
Yeah, it's too much.
Just back to back.
Yeah, I love Jeopardy, but like 2.
Yeah.
And then go on to treat it like it's afternoon television. And that's the 6 to 7 time is Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. And then it goes into some other comedy reruns that lead right into your actual prime time schedule.
Yeah.
So treat your house like a prime time schedule.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to get her on The Godless, but she won't take a chance on it. I wouldn't mind rewatching that.
Well, yeah. Personally, I think Jeff Daniels is the only thing worthwhile in that series.
Wow. Okay. All right.
It's nothing against. There's a bunch of excellent actors in it.
Yeah.
But his character is the only one that I really gravitated towards and wanted to know more of the backstory on.
He's brutal, man.
He is. Jeff Daniels is one of the most versatile actors you're going to find.
Yep. We just finished that Yorkshire Ripper show that just came out on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen that. It's called The Ripper on Netflix. But
is it good?
Yeah, it's about the British one, the Yorkshire Ripper. It is engrossing, dude. We finished it in one night, 4 episodes, just 50 minutes each one. And there's a new one that just came out on the Night Stalker that dropped yesterday. So I want to see if those are any good. But but she
It's
can't
not
watch
really
it.
her cup of tea. So
Oh, Catherine's. Oh, got it.
yeah.
Lily's like, she can't watch it at night. She's cool to watch it on a Saturday afternoon, but she can't watch it at night because it gives her nightmares and shit. So
makes it too real.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially now that we have a house with like these windows, backyard window doors, it can be kind of scary to think about. So
what, a screen door?
Yeah, but I mean, like, a double pane window door that slides.
Sliding glass door?
Yeah. Sliding glass doors on both in our living room and our bedroom. So that's pretty cool. Like, one, you can go out to the backyard in two different ways. But like, she gets worried about it with the serial killer stuff because they always seem to find a way through those sliding glass doors to get.
Well, especially in the 70s.
Yeah, right.
In the early 80s, it seemed like that was the weak point in the security system.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me ask you this: are you guys, by chance, the last house on the left?
Yes. If you're coming up the road, we are.
Well, from which specific direction? Yes, you're the last house on the left. All right.
We are.
What others can I think of?
I've never thought of that. Holy shit. Yeah, on this particular stretch of the road, we are the last house on the left. You can go left or right.
But if you're coming from the other direction, you're the first house on the left.
We're the first house on the right.
So it's not like the road ends and there's your house.
You're right. No, fuck no. I hate living in places like that where you're the end house. No thanks.
I had a friend that had that in high school, and it was the coolest. It was his and one other house went up this small little, but behind each was a small ravine.
Oh, shit.
So yeah, it's just like all the forest behind you, just trees. We used to play down there, like run around.
Right.
And just do kid stuff, throw rocks at each other. I don't know, whatever you're doing as kids. The best was, so there used to be these vines that grew up in like an invasive species. And some of them would get pretty thick and strong. So we found one day, and it seemed like it was, we were swinging on it, going out over this. So the ravine went down, plateaued, and then where the vine swung out, it dropped down like another 4 or 5 feet, and then plateaued again. And that was the base.
Right.
So we were on this running out and then flying out, and you start 4 or 5 feet off the ground, and then you swing out, and then you swing back type of. And I'll never forget it. He swung out, the dude whose house it was. He was like the 15th person that had done it. We'd all done it a few different times. And he got to the apex, the highest of the swing, and it broke the vine. Oh, and it was like a fucking Wile E. Coyote, because the look in his eyes, and he suddenly just went straight down, and you just heard this thud because it was 5 feet below us. But the look in his eyes, like, oh my fuck! And the rest of us were like, thank God that wasn't me. It was like a cartoon, just whoop, and you'd see the airlines moving up out of, that stays in frame while the person just disappears. It was great. Yeah.
Yikes, man. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
we're figuring it out. We like it down here. We're just figuring it out. But
anyway, every place has its challenges.
Yeah. But it's nice, and trying to figure out what we're gonna watch. All of that is frustrating. But that's enough of this banter. The Brooklyn Nets have made an incredible trade. We got to talk about this, for God's sake.
Okay.
Please.
Well, by the time people hear this, though, it'll be old news. But
that's
okay.
Right. But I got to talk about this with you because I want to hear what your thoughts are. This is insane, Matt. I don't want to fat shame somebody, but he certainly put pounds on in an effort to say fuck you to Houston. He didn't get himself in shape, and he made this happen. It is such a passive aggressive way of doing it. But he certainly wanted out of a situation of his own making and then got himself traded to the Brooklyn Nets. Now he gets what he wants. Do you like this trade for the Nets? Do you like this trade for the Rockets? They get Oladipo is out of Indiana now. Crazy.
Yeah. Trading Karis LeVert. Cleveland gets Jared Allen and Taurean Prince. Houston also gets Dante Exum and Karooks, something like that. I didn't know the name off the top of my head. Plus, then, by the way, we're talking about James Harden going to the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
Plus, Houston gets the Nets 22, 24, 26 first rounders, pick swaps with the Nets 21, 3, 5, and 7. And they also get Cleveland's first rounder in 22, I believe. It's, for Houston, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
You got Oladipo. You're taking a risk, but the guy's been an all-star. Putting him next to another guy, risk of John Wall, but John Wall wants to be there. Boogie Cousins, another risk, but Boogie wants to be there. Could be something, but you also have enough picks to where you're not saddled with these guys Brooklyn, if you don't win in the next 2 years, you guys are royally screwed.
Yeah.
Royally.
1,000%.
It's the worst game. Now, everybody's like, they're doing Paul Pierce and KG again. It's just, KG was washed.
Yes.
By KG standards. He still played. Paul Pierce, you could tell, was on the precipice. When they did that, I instantly said, that's an amazing trade for the Celtics. Whereas I still have belief that New Jersey could win. They could. It's possible now. It is definitely possible.
You mean Brooklyn? You mean Brooklyn?
Brooklyn. I'm sorry. Yeah. It is possible.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, but the thing is, who's gonna take the final shot, man? Are they gonna defer to Kevin? Did James have like 6 years of trying to run an organization and be the lead dog, and in the end, he realized, I'm never gonna get there as the lead dog. I might as well go to this other place, and I'll be part of the GRU, and we'll win a title possibly. And how does Russell Westbrook feel if he's the odd man out of this reuniting pair?
Yeah, and Ibaka's on the Clippers.
Oh, right. That's right. Ibaka's on the Clippers. But like,
for Brooklyn, it's just scary because they're roughly middle of the pack on defensive efficiency, and Jared Allen was their best defender overall. So now you're asking DeAndre Jordan play 30-ish minutes a game, and he's just not going to give that to you. So are you going to force teams to go small and shift Durant to the 5? So, and then it's Durant, Kyrie, James Harden, Joe Harris, and I'm not sure exactly who right now.
Yeah.
Number 5 would be if you're going to shift off, because you just lost Torian Prince, you just lost Karis LeVert, you just lost Jarrett Allen.
And they got like 4 slots now available.
Yeah, they'll be filling with G League players, or I'm sure they're waiting also for the buyout to get a center in that market. At the trade deadline, anybody that just doesn't make it out as a trade gets bought out.
Yeah.
So replenish there, but knew it was coming. It's the number of picks and pick swaps that to me is asinine. I think it's interesting that the Nets are taking the swing. Houston is doing the right thing by getting their disgruntled play out of there.
Yeah.
James Harden is an asshole.
Yeah.
You're getting paid 30 some odd million. 40 some odd million, whatever the case is. I have to look up its actual contract. I know he's going to lose almost 14 million in taxes alone by moving to New York.
Damn it, man.
Yeah. It's like 13.8. That's just in city state taxes in New York that he doesn't have to pay in Houston and Texas.
Yeah.
But
you figure maybe he's going to set himself up with endorsement deals and shit to cover that.
But dude, Kevin Durant is back.
Yeah.
He looks so good. What sucks is now you're putting one of the players I love to watch most with a player that is top 2 of what I least like to watch. So I'm going to be watching James Harden now again. Although I always watch the Rockets, but
if he starts to go solo ball, Matt, that's going to piss Durant off.
There's a chance.
Kyrie off. So that's what I'm concerned about. It's like 7 years of playing a certain style that made you the alpha dog. Are you going to be able to adjust to not being the alpha dog anymore? I mean, Dwayne Wade had to do it. Bosch had to do it in service of King James. So is Harden going to be able to do it in service of Durant? Because Durant's your alpha. There's no question about it. Durant's your fucking alpha. And Kyrie can talk about the moon or whatever, but Durant's your alpha.
If you could somehow talk Harden into playing more of a Curry-like role where it's running around, going around screens and all that, because then when you get fouls, it's like, well, yeah, but you're working hard for it. So I don't mind as much as opposed to crab drilling for 18 seconds and then running into the lane and dragging your arm through guys and getting a cheap foul call, knowing that the refs are going to side with you because by technical letter of the law, they did foul you, even though you initiated. It's like when they played the Lakers the night he fucking gave up and he flat out, once again, he hooked LeBron and then he did a rip through and the refs called it for him when it was egregiously hunted out by him. But he's so good at it that it happens fast enough and you're like, I could believe that was a mix-up.
Right.
It's like, no, go watch that again. That is James Harden being fucking James Harden. Whereas if he was running around screens for those 18 seconds, it's like, you earned it, at least.
Yeah, and also you look at the situation, that's what Draymond does, right? Draymond kicking out his leg to try to get the foul every time, claiming that it's a natural shooting position. What are you, insane?
He's done it so much now that I kind of believe on some level that it is for Draymond. Because look at his three-point shot when there's nobody around him. As somebody pointed out years ago, it looks like he's wearing a backpack because of the posture from which he shoots from the three-point line. So it's not like he's got a natural fluid shooting motion in general.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's when Reggie Miller does it, and you're like, damn well, Reggie, you don't need to kick that leg out. You are, as weird as your form is, it's money. Doesn't matter. It goes in, and you are an excellent shooter. Steph falls more than any player I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's true.
I do believe he gets fouled more because he's so
More-
small compared to everybody.
More than Divac used to fall? Is that you're saying he's more?
Watch a game. You'll see Steph fall minimum 3 times a game. Minimum. And I never really buy him as hamming it up for the foul call. I think it's part of it is when he lands, if there's any kind of interference, he instantly falls down because he's had bad ankles, and it's just smarter not to put any weight on him and just go down.
Yeah.
And another one is it's just part of the way he plays. But Reggie's, no. When Westbrook does it, no.
Yeah.
You're specifically hunting for that foul.
Yeah. Well, and Kyrie's hurt right now, isn't he, Matt? Like,
no.
He's back? Okay.
No.
I thought he was hurt a little bit.
He left for personal reasons, and they were never defined as what those personal reasons were. And then video came out of him and his sister.
Right.
His sister and dad share a birthday. So it was her 30th, and they threw a party. People were saying it was in Toronto, but it looks like it was probably in New Jersey.
Okay.
But the other night, 2 nights ago, the game before the trade, the tip-off was 7:30. He wasn't there, but he was on a Zoom call with the assistant DA in Manhattan, something like that, but a public Zoom call, and just like, what exactly are you fucking doing right now when you're getting paid?
Yeah.
You agreed to this contract. It's not like we're forcing you to do this. If you don't want to do it, as Stephen A said, as much as I think Stephen A says stuff just because he needs to be Stephen A.
Right.
I agree with him. If you don't want to show up to work, that's fine. Retire.
Yeah. Yeah.
If the social issues mean so much to you, and that's great, and we'll applaud you for it, retire.
Yeah.
Don't hold your team hostage and continue to get paid. Although if the video is enough to trigger the NBA, so they can, he'll lose game checks for all the games he missed for this. And it ends up being $400 and some odd $1,000 a game. So that might motivate him to come back quicker.
Yeah.
But it'd be retroactive to when he left. I don't know how many games, but we're talking a few million at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe this motivates him to come back. I don't know. Otherwise, retire.
Yeah. If that's the issue, I don't know. You kind of fucked your team a little bit, haven't you?
Yeah. Not by kind of.
Yeah,
not by kind of.
Yeah, I guess so. Not by kind of. But I totally get it. I mean, the social issues have been a very strong part of the NBA, obviously for a very long time, but certainly over the last couple of years, and certainly over the last summer, what happened with Black Lives Matter, everything like that. So to me, that makes sense. If that's where your heart is, you can't do both. You just not at a professional level. You just can't. It asks too much of you. Even Jim Brown retired early and became a civil rights activist because he understood like all this practice time, all this play time, all this is time I could be out there marching, out there taking meetings and talking with leaders to try to change the situation. It's too much to ask to do both. You can't be a part-time activist and a full-time player. It's just too much, to get the effect you really want to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
all right, man. We'll see.
It's wonder weird,
if they're going to pick up, man.
Yeah. The trade only opens up more questions. It doesn't really solve anything.
I would love to have been in the room when Russell read that for the first time. I would love to have been in the room when Russell Westbrook read that. I was like, what the?
Wow, especially now that Brad Beal is basically back on the market.
Yeah. Fuck, man, we're playing.
You guys suck. So I did not see this coming.
Dude, terrible.
Thomas Bryant's done for the year.
Yep. That's it. I mean, whatever chance we had to win like 20 or 30 games.
You guys are thin.
With Thomas Bryant.
You're so thin that losing somebody who was getting lots of playing time. Although Avdija looks pretty good.
Sure. And
I like Denny.
And what is it? Hachimura's doing all right with what he's getting.
Yeah. But, maybe he rounded into shape. How in the world can a team with Bradley Beal and Russ Westbrook not make the playoffs in the East?
Yeah.
At the very least, the play-in game.
And Russell's been taking off some games too, dude.
Yeah, he's missed.
Resting, soreness, all that shit.
And you guys played better without him. At least one night for sure. I think was the first night he was out. It's like
I don't want to say that because
look at his offense open wide up.
Yeah.
Yep. But just like Houston's conundrum, Bradley Beal is your best trade asset.
Yeah. I almost bought a Russell Westbrook jersey. I was like, I'm going to wait. I'm going to see a couple weeks. Let's see how they do. And then I was like, nope, let's put that money back in the bank account. No,
you'll have them for another 2 years. So
So no way. I think if he doesn't show up this year, they'll trade him in the offseason.
Who's going to take him? What contract matches of a player that you want in return? This was the conundrum of John Wall before.
Yeah. Yeah.
And eventually, somehow, the price tag for Westbrook ended up equating to John Wall.
I think we got worse, Matt, letting go of John Wall. We got worse.
We'll see. We'll see now that Wall's the alpha in Houston.
Oh, yeah.
Technically.
He is. That's so funny. In some default way, he inherits a team. Yeah.
Yeah, because Boogie's been out for so long.
Yeah.
And Oladipo's only been the face of a team for a short amount of time. It'll be a collective thing, though, but it'll be weird.
I think Oladipo's never meant to be an alpha, man. So if Wall knows what he's doing in this situation, this could be fantastic. We'll see. I mean, Kyrie says he's committed to this thing, but that's today. Tomorrow he could be totally out. So
very true.
Anyway, all right, that's not what we're here to do. We're here to count down a list for you all. And Matt, what's our list this time around?
People have been saying, why don't you guys branch into TV? Do something different outside of it. And the thing is, they started bringing it up when we'd already had the conversation of, hey, what do you think about doing something like this?
Yeah.
So the bevy of Star Wars slate all got released. And you're like, well, what other shows would we like to see of characters from the Star Wars universe?
Yeah.
Who else could have a standalone that would be interesting to us? And that is today's show.
Yeah. We Disney Investor Day was a few weeks ago, and so it kind of motivated Matt and I to have a conversation about the possibility of what characters do we think in the Star Wars universe would we want to see a TV show from? So we are kind of veering a little bit on TV, as Matt just said, but also staying maybe, I don't know, depending on who we choose. Staying in the film world, depending on who we choose. But certainly, these are characters that could have been in films already, or in the TV shows, or an animated series, or maybe even in the canon books, or in the books. But certainly ideas to consider here, and we're going to count them down on our show.
And initially, I'd skewed away from anybody that's been used a decent amount in any of those, and be like, I'd like more backstory on someone else. But then, but we would have no Ahsoka show. And no Obi-Wan under that metric. So I took that off. I took that limiter off.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's still probably too many to choose from.
Mm-hmm. There are a lot. That's for sure.
At that point.
Yeah.
That being said, once we set a topic, we go our individual ways to create personal top 10. Let's show back up here. I do my bottom 3. He does his bottom 3. I do my next 2. He does his next 2. Then we trade one apiece. Once we have revealed our personal top 10 list, we create the shows between the two of us. Oodles to choose from.
Boom. Yeah, let's do it.
So at 10, 10 is a bloodbath.
Okay. All right.
In that I'm still making cases for a specific, don't you want to do a last second swap out and put them in there? Because that would be a fun show. Or do you want to do this? So I am actually going to erase what's written down there and then go with another one.
Okay.
And at 10, I'm going to go with Revan.
Darth Revan? Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I don't know shit else other than he was a Jedi that served in the Mandalorian Wars, and he led some basically Navy SEAL brigade of Jedis. And eventually he switches over to the dark side and then takes the name of Darth, gosh darn it. Revan. I almost said Remar. Revan, and then he had there was a second one that was his apprentice. That wasn't Darth Bane, it was Darth shit, doesn't matter. Darth Malak. That's right.
Yeah.
But I love that in and of itself. That's 2 seasons right there.
Yeah.
Jedi leading up to it, the start of the wars, and then pivot. And we pick up season 2, and he is now going around on the opposite side. It's like, boom, you got 2 seasons right there. I'm all in. I don't know anything about this. It was during the 1,000 Years War between the Jedi and Sith. And just, there's so much to play with. You can create a million characters. We can tell whatever storyline you want because it was a long time ago. So I don't know any of these people. None of them have stuck around.
Right.
But you have any Jedi you really want to. You got all of Mandalore and Mandalorians. Then you have the Sith and this beautiful hodgepodge of it's going to be badass fighting and palace intrigue and backstabbing, everything left, right, and center. So I'm in on that one. It's like, sure, why not? If we're just plucking any idea that we want out of that's potentially possible,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure Knapsack and Scrimshaw and 17 other people come up with more interesting choices, but they know this much better than I do.
Look, well, people tune in to listen to us talk about it, so it's
I know.
our points of view. So who cares what they're saying?
I know. But at the same time, I am interested in that and be like, okay, this is what we chose. What about you, who eats, lives, breathes this?
Right.
Not to say that we're not fans, but
yeah,
that's their jam.
Darth Revan is an interesting choice for sure. There's so much to explore with him, and like you said, it's so long ago. Even though of course, the story takes place. Sorry, a long time ago. In a galaxy far, far away. You're still like going even farther back for Darth Revan, and you're right. There's a lot to explore there, and there have been rumors about a High Republic show for quite some time. When it's all Jedi's. And of course the books have started coming out as well. So why not explore another time when they took on the Mandalorians, who are right now so hot in the Star Wars universe? The idea of Mandalorians and the Mandalorians. So why not? That would be a lot of fun. And Darth Revan is certainly a character that always bubbles up to the top when people want to talk about characters they want to see live action. So makes sense all the world.
Well, he's got a good character design too that would translate really well. Would look super cool. Whereas Malik might be tough with that metal jaw thingy bobber.
Right.
I don't know what it does. That's the other thing I like about it, is like the rest of my list are kind of all characters I know to some degree.
Right.
And I don't really know anything about that. So you could do whatever you wanted, just make it cool.
Yeah. Agreed.
That's it. I'm in.
All right. Well, what's your 9?
My 9 is Grand Moff Tarkin.
Ooh, nice choice, dude. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Because how does someone get to be basically third in the overall pecking order that is just an average person?
Yeah.
When the individual that you've beguiled is the Emperor, and basically he's Space Hitler.
Yeah.
So Space Hitler with magic. And you, as a regular person that has no magic and you're not Space Hitler, you got the respect of Space Hitler to the degree that you get to do all his tactical, his day-to-day operations, manage all of what Space Hitler needs done.
Yeah.
That is an evil son of a bitch.
Agreed.
And I want to see him rise through what he did, because you could start it with him as a young officer. And was it backstabbing, or was it one of the few things I did find interesting about Solo is seeing it from the aspect of the soldiers that are never going to meet the Emperor. So the Empire is an abstract idea as opposed to an individual. So trying to will their troops to you got to run up this hill, you got to do this, do it for the Empire,
right.
Selling it in a nationalistic kind of sense.
Yeah.
So is Moff Tarkin that? Is he just an amazing soldier and he's the Eisenhower just through sheer ability is promoted? Or because it's Space Hitler, is it backstabbing and corruption and death and murder? I don't know.
He's a little finger from Game of Thrones, right? Kind of
precisely.
And finagling his way into a position, and then once he achieves that position, having that kind of arrogance and strength of will to maintain the position that he has until because he gets blown up on the Death Star. But there's that moment in Rogue One where he kind of really dismisses Orson Krennic, and I know it's the uncanny valley and the CGI and all that shit, but it's still the character. As dismissing Orson Krennic, who has been built up as this kind of strong villain in the film, and dismisses him with a wave of his hand. And it's like, wow, that's power.
Yeah, when he takes the Death Star from him.
Oh, yeah.
Just a great.
And the credit. It's brilliant.
Well, I mean, technically, he did direct Krennic to do this, gave him the green light.
Yeah, put the pressure on him. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Boss steals credit. It happens, especially, look, you work for the Empire.
Right.
Like, that the Emperor is Space Hitler.
Yeah, you chose to be a part of this thing, so you can't be mad when people are acting evil in an evil regime.
You got to the high enough rank to understand how you became the Empire. You're inflicting your will upon the universe.
Yeah, exactly.
So that doesn't really necessarily make you a good person.
True.
Technically, it doesn't necessarily make you a bad person unless you exploit that strength, which they do. So, ergo, I've ever seen that clip from, I can't remember what British show it is. I could find the actor and show you the guy, but they're firing stormtrooper lasers and they realize they're red and they're like, hold on, are we the baddies? Like they're just
Yeah, right. Are we the baddies?
yeah. Hold on a second. Our lasers are, as if they have the same meaning to them as it do us. But yeah, I thought about that before. It's like, do they think that they're on the right side and it is truly just a rebellion type of?
Yeah.
But I love that about the guy in the Mandalorian with the gun to the head, talking about Alderaan. It's like, that's interesting. We haven't seen that before.
Right. That was fun.
But anyway, so Moff Tarkin's like, how did this dude get here?
Right. And there was a book a few years ago that came out in 2014. So maybe they could use that as the basis for the TV series. So certainly that's a possibility for sure. And everything that he went through to achieve what he achieved. So, and all the different places. I mean, he's lived long enough to have been part of so many battles, man. There's no way there isn't incredible stories to tell season per season about that guy. So depending on where you set the age of the Tarkin that you're talking about, for sure.
You know what? I think I found it. We have Space Hitler, and then Moff Tarkin is son of a gun. I just lost his stupid name. I had it and then saying Moff Tarkin took it out of my mouth.
Oh no.
Oh, okay. And that means Tarkin is Space Longshanks. He would happily fire into his men. We'll hit theirs too.
The trouble with the Jedi.
Exactly.
Well, the Jedis.
And then his pompous court. Oh, I love that scene. Just what a dick.
We can't. What do you say? We can't kill them. We'll breed them out.
Yeah. The trouble with Scotland is it's full of Scots. Like somehow that made it worse. That ridiculous over the top voice made it worse.
His eyes going up to right.
Yeah, he's so dismissive. It's such great acting. It is excellent in that tiny little scene. Pish posh. Fucking ridiculous.
All right, what's your number 8, man?
My number 8. So my list is a shot potentially dark side or dark heavy.
Nice.
Personally, because those don't get explored. So that's why I want to see
them. They usually don't get TV shows. Good point. Yeah.
So I tried to pepper in a few more. So I chose Mace Windu for 8.
Oh, that's a punt.
Okay.
Yeah, I got Mace a little bit higher up for sure. All right. So then my 10 is Chirrut Imwe and Baze Malbus.
Okay, from Rogue.
Yeah, from Rogue One, because like we get hints of what their past is like when they run into Jyn and the conversations that they have with her about it. Obviously Chirrut being blind and Baze being like the big bulky, the muscle of the crew and doing his thing. And
the bear, if you will.
Yeah, the bear. Sure. That's good comparison for sure. I love their chemistry through Rogue One. And so I would like to see what it was like for them when they were, guarding the Temple of Jeddah. What were the conversations they had? How did they come to get to know each other? How did they become friends? It's like a Step Brothers type show. Like, how did they become part of the guards, and then how they become friends, and how that kind of grew over the years to establish such a relationship? Because that ending with those two in Rogue One that's the real emotional moment of the movie for me. Both of those, both of the endings of those characters is where I get kind of misty-eyed. Not so much the ending, but certainly that moment I do, because you can tell they have a genuine affection for each other. They bust each other's balls as old friends or brothers might do. So I love that about their relationship, and I'd like to see some more of what happened with them, and like how Chirrut Imwe became such a devotee to the Force, and Baze is more about the brutal arms approach to things.
Yeah, yeah. He's Han Solo and Luke Skywalker in essence.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, from mentality, one believes in the Force, and the Force will take them through, and the other is, you need a gun.
Mm-hmm. We're not getting caught with our pants down again.
Yeah, exactly. That is Han saying, okay, no, I got a blaster. We can blast our way through this. We can set charges. We can do that type of stuff. And that is, and the other one was like, no, you just calm yourself, sinner.
Right. And how did they deal with the Empire taking over their temple? What was their reaction to it? Were they beaten into submission? You know,
Oh yeah,
all those things I'd want to explore with them for sure. You know,
it's a great
okay.
choice.
Thank you, man. Okay, so number 9 is for me Asajj Ventress. Do you have Asajj Ventress on your list?
I came close, man. Once again. I got a lot of baddies.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll cut it in Asajj, but she is awesome in the Tartakovsky Clone Wars.
Yeah, and she also came back in the Clone Wars itself in season 5 and was kicking ass there, helping out Ahsoka, and then had the affair with Quinlan Vos, and I think that's a book as well. The Asajj Ventress and Vos relationship is a book as well, and the Dark Disciple novel has that in there if I remember correctly. But yeah, she was there in the Clone Wars, and you got to see like how much of a badass Jedi she was, and then almost how much of a badass Sith she was. So to see her like vacillating between the two, how that all happened, her relationships with the Jedi that she was around, then her relationships with the Siths, and then her back and forth with Kenobi and other people. It would be great to see so much more of Asajj Ventress because a lot, I like just the look of her, right? And she's
great.
She's someone that like challenges you whether you should like her or hate her or not. Do you see the logic in her reasoning?
Yeah, you understand her motivations.
Yeah, exactly, and that makes you kind of like take a second step to the situation and understand. So I would love to see Asajj Ventress and in a TV series. Also because the Star Wars is starting to move towards more female oriented leads, or female leads rather, in these TV shows. Why not Asajj Ventress, who's one of the biggest badasses on the planet? You get Ahsoka, I mean, in the universe rather, you get Ahsoka. Why not Asajj? Just makes sense to me.
Well, because more people more than likely know Ahsoka. Although honestly, the only people that know Ahsoka before The Mandalorian were Star Wars fans.
Yeah, or people watch the Clone Wars.
Yeah, but they would have been fine with an Asajj Ventress because they knew her as well. If you haven't, go and see. I think it's her introduction, but in the Tartakovsky series, so Dooku is basically looking for his own apprentice.
Yeah,
they'll never truly be because he is the apprentice of. So an apprentice can't apprentice, but they don't know that. So it's this big gladiatorial thing, and just all these Sith are coming in. Whoever, it's battle royale, so whoever is the last one standing is my apprentice.
Right.
And it is badass. She is awesome in it.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's what it is. It's been years since I've seen it, but I remember that was my introduction to Asajj Ventress, and I was like, oh, what a great character. I'd happily take her over Revan. I got zero problem with that.
Yeah.
I'm in for the dark side just because we don't know. Like, she's got a great backstory once you read into it.
Yeah.
Know that, that she had a tumultuous childhood and leads into her wanting, empathizing with or sympathizing with the dark side. And that's why she went that direction.
Yeah. All right. So then my number 8 is Rey.
All right.
And the reason I say that, I know we just had a trilogy with her and all of that. But now that we've come past this trilogy and we've had, your feelings about trilogy, whatever they may be, now that we move into this post-trilogy phase of Star Wars, I would love to see what Rey does now with this information, with her journey. People are looking for this Kenobi series. You could almost see kind of a similarity to that in the Rey situation. What does she do with now the fact that she's embraced her powers and grown over the last 3 films into the character that she is now? What adventures is she going on? How much more capable is she of handling it? Does Finn come back into the world at some point, or Poe come back into her world at some point? I'd like to see that. Plus, she's in charge of the Millennium Falcon, and she's with Chewie. So where's the connection here? With how much of that do we get, going forward now? So I'd like to see carry on the legacy of Leia. Does she eventually put down the lightsaber and become a politician herself down the road to kind of make sure this uneasy peace is kept by her? Just saying.
Yeah, she had 3 movies, so that's why I didn't include. As much as I would love to see Luke now train Grogu.
Right. Yeah.
I couldn't choose him for this because Luke had 3 movies. That's fine. Anyway, if they made that, I would hope it's good because I would like to watch it.
Yeah.
I just, at this point, it's 3 disappointing movies with her as the lead. Not her fault, but
No, I don't think so. I think she was great.
No, she's got all the charm in the world. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
the story provided didn't really suit my taste. That's all.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. So then what's your 7, man?
My 7 is Saw Gerrero.
Oh, good choice, dude. Yep. Go ahead, my man.
Just what happened
Yeah.
that made you split from the rebellion because the rebellion wasn't real enough for you.
Yeah. You guys ain't hardcore enough.
Exactly. Do you want to destroy the empire or not? Like, what happened? Because we saw what's his name, Diego Luna, that's going to get his own series.
Yep.
Cold-blooded, killed a dude. That's what he has to do. That's why I love that. In that, it's precisely, he is a spy, and he can't get found out because the information he has is worth more, and not then violating all the connections he's made because it could burn several bridges.
Yeah.
So from the rebellion's perspective of it makes more sense moralistically, if we want to win, you have to kill this person that's technically not part of the empire.
Yeah.
So is it something they opted a mission not to do, someone not to kill, someone not to kidnap? Like what was a bridge too far for the rebellion? And Saul and his buddies are on the other side, like, hey, let's go. And then meanwhile, the empire's cutting the rope, the bridge from their side. I mean, not the empire, but the other rebellion. Be like, nope, not going.
You're done, man.
Yes, nope, not happening. And then from there, then to see him, like, more than likely just get really dark.
Yeah.
And then come back up because then later on they kind of, you're still going to team up. You still have an overall goal. So long as you're not thwarting the other from doing their job.
Yeah.
There's no point in stopping you.
He's broken from the wars, the battles, he's injured. Like when we see him in Rogue One, he is older. He is using that breathing apparatus. He's moving slower. He's experienced the worst of the war, and he took it in a certain way. And his skepticism, his constant suspicion of everybody, that turns him into a bit of a smart leader, but also a leader you can't fully 100% trust. And I think that's to see that tragic fall from the the noble warrior with his sister that he was in Clone Wars to what he ends up in Rogue One. I think it's a great point. It'd be fun to see that for sure.
Yeah. See the full circle type of. There'd be something really interesting in there because it goes more that Diego Luna route of the empire. I mean, pardon me, the rebellion isn't squeaky clean in all of this.
Right.
It's still run by fallible living beings. So mistakes are going to be made on both sides.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So to just strip away the sheen of the altruism. Now we don't need to go full Cantobite and be like, there are war profiteers. You're like, yeah, I know. Actually, but at the same time, why doesn't the empire just control the means of production at this point? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I mean, they already have complete control of everything else. Why wouldn't they take control of the military structure?
Yeah.
But I guess even in that system, there are some that do get rich.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, I didn't tune in for that. We made fun of Lucas for opening on a trade conflict for Phantom Menace. Like there are certain aspects of this, the bureaucracy minutia that we don't really need to get into. Not when we have space magic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We can tune into, guess what? We get that every day in our country, at least.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The madness and all that.
All right. So that's my 7.
Okay. What's your 6?
My 6 is General Grievous.
Oh, nice. Yeah. General Grievous. Yeah.
I want to see the progression of him over time.
Yeah.
Maybe like do the first episode and we see the fully formed for those that don't know who he is. And then it's a flashback to him being younger and being how he slowly moved and morphed into over the course of maybe that first season or first half of the season. And he spends the second half as Grievous type of thing.
Yeah.
But became less and less of a man or whatever he was. I know he wasn't technically a man. He was a different race, but just to say it like that.
Yeah.
Went from less flesh and blood to more and more machine, and how much of him is still left? How much of the essence of the individual before they became General Grievous still exists? Yeah. Because you could strip away the flesh, but you still have the mind. You technically have the heart, the eyes, a few other, things here and there.
Yeah.
But everything else is just completely artificial. And then from there, just see why a character, season 2, season 3, whatever, why a character like that should be feared. Because he kind of gets dunked on.
Yeah, he does.
Revenge of the Sith. He gets dunked on twice.
Yep.
It's like, well, then why does he have underneath his cape 8 lightsabers of the Jedi that he's killed and collected? I'd like to see that.
Yeah. That's why he's a badass in Clone Wars versus in the movies.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. He's kind of a joke in the movies. And the Clone Wars, you're just like, oh, okay, this is how much of a badass he can be.
Exactly. You know, him talking shit is like, oh, I expected you to be older. You're like, you got him. You got him. And then Anakin's, oh yeah, I expected you to be taller. And I don't know why those 2 lines were written into the script. If those are cut downs, then this is the sense of humor here is basically what the French award the Légion d'honneur or whatever it's called for comedy. Because
nice.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. The Légion d'honneur.
Oh yeah, sure.
Something along those lines. Just like, yeah, you know, there's a reason Jerry Lewis was the #1 comedian there for 30 years. Not knocking Jerry, but it's a specific style.
Woo! I guess so. Yeah, I guess it's a good point.
Yeah. If that is your flavor profile for comedy, then I just think it needs to be more nuanced. There's nothing wrong with having that, but you also need other flavors within this profile, in my opinion.
Of course, man.
So anywho, Grievous, I think, was unfortunately misused in Sith.
Yeah.
And I think
1,000%, dude.
Much like, you know, although I don't know how you do this on a Mandalorian like stage. So maybe that's what it, because they'd have to be a full CGI character, and that's more expensive than the other shows that you could put out. So
yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know that it'll ever happen because they're trying to focus on somebody that we can film that and give you a background, whatever the background is.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, so that's my 6.
All right. Let's see. My number 7 is 10, 9, 8, 7. Akbar, Admiral Akbar. That's my number 7.
That was the cut.
Oh,
for Revan. I had Akbar at 10, and then I was like, I don't know, though Revan, there's a lot more there.
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting things with Akbar. That's what I like about him. He's not just the guy who's in charge of the troops. I mean, if you go and read some of the backstory on him, that's canon or not canon or in the Legends novels. I mean, there's so much to explore with him. He grew up, he joined the Guard, became captain of the Guard, and of course did some heroic feats during the Clone Wars. There's also, and of course, obviously in the original trilogy, but there's also stuff that explores. There are some origins that explore him being like a guy who was in service, in a servitude, and broke out of it because he was captured and put in servitude to the Empire, eventually broke out of it, found his way back to the Resistance, and that's what makes him such a hard-ass general. So I think there's so much to explore with that character like Admiral Akbar and what his progression is as a military guy. You mentioned Saw Gerrera, same thing here. Kind of like what lessons did he take from the numerous battles he was involved in from a young age on? Yeah. What did he kind of figure out for himself and put himself in position to do the things he does, so that when he shows up in the original trilogy, that's the reason why he's like very adamant about the things that he is doing, the experiences that have grown him. And of course, he never got married, never had kids or anything like that. So what was his dedication? How complete was his dedication to the rebellion and to the Resistance? Was it his experiences when he was imprisoned and the torture he experienced as a prisoner of the Empire that hardened him to be the person that he is by the time we see him in the original trilogy? So there's so much you can play with. Yeah. And I know the big head and CGI, but if you can do it in a way that, they're doing it on Star Trek Discovery, all those different looking species.
Yeah, I think I can get away with that one.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
To me, I cut it off just because I think there's more. He ultimately is Aquaman. So how many movies of Aquaman fighting in the ocean can you watch?
Right. Well,
hey,
I guess so. I guess you're right.
So he plays better as part of an ensemble to me.
Okay.
But that's just because, trust me, the first thing I thought of was like, they're Mon Calamari or something along that, the name of the race.
Yeah.
So to go to their planet, and then they have like an Aquaman, like that's the entire season, and it's a big climactic battle at the end. But ultimately, he's got to leave at some point. And it's tougher to do the it's not tougher to do the Mandalorian route where he's hopping around the different, but
yeah.
Then what's the point of using Akbar if you're not going to go to his home world underwater? Because that's completely different from everything else that's come out. That's the reason to do it.
Right.
So that's why I cut it off. It's like, it seems kind of limited compared to these others which have more opportunity.
Yeah, I hear your point. I just like the character a lot, and I like the his presence in the film. So it's great to see his journey through the military and what he experienced in ending up in the positions. Maybe even as a like a what do they call those things? Like a flashback type thing, where every episode begins with him telling some story, and then we go flashback to the story, and that's the whole episode. That would be interesting. In one of his journeys, maybe in the middle of a battle or one of those off days in the battle or nights in the battle, he's telling a different story that's part of a new episode for the season. I don't know, just something like that would be fun. Akbar War Stories. All right, so then my number 6 is Leia.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much we still don't know or haven't seen rather on screen. Certainly there have been novels and what have you recently, but like for me, either you handle the period from when she's a young, this could be a perfect young adult movie. Millie Bobby Brown just did Enola Holmes. You could have even Millie Bobby Brown step in and play Princess Leia from when she's a young teen to when she ends up on that ship with Vader, right? When did she start becoming a spy? When was she running the missions? When was she starting to have this double life? Has she always been someone who sensed that she was not, part of this family from the beginning, that she had a bigger cause, a bigger purpose to serve? Did she have force moments as a teenage girl that she kind of ignored or didn't want to deal with because her focus was more the political stuff, more the spy stuff, more changing the direction of where the galaxy was going and trying to rebel against Vader and his whole crew there? That would be interesting to explore. Or if you want, you go post Return of the Jedi. Her and Han are married. What is it like for her to be a mom at the same time she's trying to do this political stuff, at the same time that Solo is off, trying to reclaim his manhood and doing the smuggling and all of that? Is he home? What's their home life like? What adventures does she have to go on? So there's just so much that you could explore with Leia on both sides of her time that we've seen her on screen. Excuse me.
Sure. I just immediately disqualified her in my head because she's been in so many of the movies and a central, part or character for quite a few of them.
I mean, yes and no, because we don't.
I know. I see. I hear what you're saying, though. I like the idea of doing the younger version. That to me seems really intriguing. How do you become a spy, and then you're in the Senate before Alderaan, before they go full, baddies.
Right, exactly.
Blow your planet up. But there's a lot to play with there. Of the early characters, that one makes the most sense to me.
Yeah.
Because Solo, they already tried to give it to him.
They tried, yeah.
Although if we're, discounting that, I would take Solo. Solo would be my number 1, but they've already done a movie and they'll do another one.
Yeah, at some point down the road.
Yeah, he's Wolverine.
Yeah, right.
So he's going to get his others.
Yeah. All right, so what's your 5, man?
My 5 is Darth Maul.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I thought about taking him off just because they did so much with him in Star Wars, the Clone Wars, and with Rebels, little flashes. Solo, and then obviously Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
But they never really focused on him. And the Clone Wars Rebels and be like, okay, but you still have Ahsoka Tano, Obi-Wan, and Anakin, and they're all 3 in the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels.
Right.
So it's fine. And he's not been within Clone Wars, he got more backstory fleshed out, but the character's so effing cool.
Yeah.
If he didn't already have that little bit of fleshing out within Clone Wars, he'd be even higher because I think Lucas managed to create the devil and made the devil even more interesting. That's pretty sweet. And I'd like to know how exactly, so do all your people? And then we've, eventually we meet his brother, I guess ultimately turns out to be, who looks like him, just different coloration. And then we meet, the Night Sisters, but the females of his homeworld.
Yeah.
And they have, I love that theirs is flat out called magic. They do magic. There's no explanation beyond the other one. At least there's the Force, and it's something. It's a different type of magic.
Right.
Theirs is just straight up. They got magic that they derive their power from their home planet or something along those lines.
Yeah.
But just Darth Maul has always been such a captivating character for me that I am more than happy to watch several seasons of this. That was the best part of Solo to me, is flashing that and then knowing he runs this crime syndicate somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Crimson Dawn. Yeah.
Yeah. I am in on that. Let's okay. What's Crimson Dawn about?
Right. You could do a spin-off movie where you have Emilia Clarke and a live action Darth Maul, like what they're doing there in their crime world.
Pretty sure you're gonna have to recast Maul.
All right, so then my number 5 is Qui-Gon Jinn.
Okay.
Because we only got him in Phantom Menace, right?
True.
And there's a great occasionally in I think in Clone Wars or Rebels or something like that. And so what I enjoy about this character,
He's in Rebels. I'm only at like the end of season 3, and Clone Wars I didn't finish.
Hold on, I want to make sure.
More than likely, you're probably right. I just haven't got to the end of either. Although Rebels, I just started.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry, Clone Wars. Yeah, he's in Clone Wars as a voice. So he does appear there, and there's rumors that he's going to show up in the Kenobi series. Very strong rumors going to show up. But I mean, to me, I see him as kind of what people might know as the Gray Jedi, which is that half evil, half anyway, they're Jedi that don't necessarily adhere to all the ethics of the Jedi, all the code of the Jedi. They're still officially Jedi. They're just not 100% fully whatever the council says that's the law type Jedi. So a little bit using brute force when they need to, what have you. I mean, and Filoni had that great like 8-minute monologue or whatever about how Qui-Gon Jinn is important to the situation with Anakin turning into Darth Vader. So for me, that's what I would love to see. I would love to see him kind of explore how Qui-Gon came to be, how he trained, who was his master, what that relationship was like, and then what he achieved, when he got to that status where he met Kenobi, all of that. So to me, that would be so great to explore that Qui-Gon Jinn. What were his adventures like? What did he experience? What did he go on? And it's kind of surprising not to see too much media that's come out exploring his backstory. Because I mean, it's Liam Neeson, for fuck's sake. Yeah. And the character left such a strong impression on a lot of people in the first movie. Oh, in Phantom Menace, rather. So yeah.
It's a great choice. It's one of those of now that you say it, just like the Leia one, like, yeah, that is a good point. I like the idea. You could flesh out a lot with that and see it's a different side of Jedis.
Yeah.
Which would be interesting. So it's good to see, all the different facets of a situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great choice.
Cool. Thanks, man. What's your 4?
My 4 is Jabba.
Oh,
how does a slug become the godfather, the kingpin of the Outer Realm? That to me is super interesting.
That's the Sopranos, man. That's what that is.
It is.
Yeah, that's great.
But he comes from a race of slug people. So how do these foes that look like they could get picked off so easy amass that much power that the Empire, which before that was the Republic, is a land of democracy and whatnot, realizes that he is the ruling entity of this outer realm of the outer planets. And their authority really can't match his, so they have to deal with him, and they can't get rid of him because he has that much power. It's like it's a 7-foot slug. I mean, it's what it is. It's a set that weighs like probably a couple 1,000 pounds.
Certainly, yeah.
That's sitting in there, just the largesse of the Roman Empire right before you, lying down, being fanned by while concubines are giving him grapes type of deal. How does this person amass that much? And as a family, they're a bunch of huts.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a lot of stories. And plus, because it's the outer rim, it's Westerny. You can have more of those type of kind of vibe to it. So it's Mandalorian-ish, but I think Jabba standalone. Once again, I like all the darker.
Yeah.
Because we've seen so much of the light, I think.
Yeah. I think I'd be down with that. I mean, Lucas talked about that was it Underground series or Downtown series, whatever it was called, that they was going to do on ABC. I think it's Underground, and they was going to explore that kind of seedy underbelly of the crime syndicates there on Tatooine, and so like that could be very interesting to explore for sure, and especially because we got Jabba's palace in the Mandalorian. So it's like, okay, where does that kind of leave us and what's coming up for next year or later on this year? So yeah, 1,000%. I mean, Jabba's one of those characters you can't take your eyes off of, and will leave a
great
impact on you. And how he achieved that status would be fun to explore 1,000%. As kind of like a Sopranos type show. Totally.
Yeah, because he definitely stabbed people in the back and double crossed, triple crossed. He did all of it.
Yep. Okay. All right. So then we're up to my number 4, which is our punt from earlier, Mace Windu.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was surprised where Mace landed because I got kind of a love-hate relationship with Mace Windu. Because I mean, Samuel L. Jackson coming into the Star Wars universe was great because you've got another prominent person of color other than Billy D. Williams. That really was the only other one.
Yeah, no, that was it
at the time to come in. And the way he came in, he's like, you know what? I'm going to come in and I want a purple lightsaber. It's like, what? There's nothing in the canon that says you should have a purple lightsaber. But he's like, these are my terms. And so at that kind of made me bristle a little bit, but then when you see him as Mace, he's pretty cool. And then the Clone Wars really is where you get to kind of appreciate Mace Windu as a character even more. And the fact that he has this kind of sliding scale of morals for whatever the situation is and what he deems the punishment to be appropriate, he will do. He is one lightsaber strike away from killing Palpatine when Anakin interrupts him and Anakin cuts off his hand and then sends him out, or what's his face? Palpatine sends him out the window. And so what if he's still alive and he's been kind of, living underground and getting stronger and kind of maybe reflecting back on the lessons he learned becoming a Jedi? Was he a wild kid or was he a nerdy kid? What kind of kid was he, Mace Windu, as a teenager? And then what turned him on to the Force? Like what made him become a Jedi instead of a Sith? What is that? And so then what is his journey back to the light? What is his journey back into prominence? And does that lead to another confrontation with Anakin Skywalker this time as Darth Vader? That would be badass, in my opinion. And I think Sam would kill it, or whoever you cast to play would kill it.
Yeah. Because they've, at least my understanding is like there are types of Jedi in that this one, if you looked at it like a D&D situation, like this one's more of like a healer.
Yeah.
And this one's more like a this. And he is of the, I believe, of like warrior class type of Jedi. But where I fell in love with Mace is it's another Tartakovsky. He took on an entire droid army by himself. And it is amazing. And you're like, well, if this dude can do that, like he's the warrior class. So what classes has he been in? Just the raw power that he exhibited there.
Yeah.
And the fact that, he seems to be second fiddle only to Yoda.
Yeah.
It's like, that's okay. That's pretty impressive. That's rarefied air.
True.
Very true. Yeah. I think there's a lot to be mined there. And it's a Jedi that you can focus on, easily make, spin a series out of. And we don't really know that much on the backstory. So
yeah.
At least cinematically.
Yeah. Something to consider. All right. What's your 3, man?
My 3 is actually what you just brought up.
Oh.
But you attributed to Tatooine, which is the rumored series Coruscant Underworld.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because it's all, there's the top floor that you're seeing when we're flying in to land on the planet is level like 3,000 or something ridiculous. So there's all those that go down to the depths of, and the Empire. So the Empire, the Emperor, Darth, all those guys are people's names you hear, but they're not characters you interact with. That was the setup of this. And Lucas said it was just too expensive to do. But basically, it's a mob movie set on Coruscant.
Right. That's
or
what
a mob show.
The
Yeah.
ABC one. They're like, he said there's like 50 scripts of fully fleshed out episodes out there. Jesus.
And I think they shot like a little bit of teaser stuff, and there might be a little teaser type of footage out there. But now with Mandalorian, it's like, this is possible. And in essence, it's Godfather meets Blade Runner. You're telling me you're not in on that?
Yeah, I'm in.
Like, that sounds pretty sweet. What else you got? All right. Well, we got Jedi. All right. All right. Like it's grimy, it's lived in, it's still the world you know, but it's a completely different side of that world. And it's more like the day to day of what we would face if we lived on Coruscant.
Right. Right.
So yeah, once I've always wanted them to get that project off the ground from the first time that I heard it, which was years after it died.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like I was, I wasn't part of the Star. It's much easier in the internet age.
Yeah.
Whereas before, I don't know how you stayed up on all of the information of something like that. But where there's a will, there's a way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Coruscant Underworld, whatever they call, I want to say like the when I originally heard it, it was called like level 1419 or something like that. Or it was just 1419, and that was the level type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it was just a number. Anyway, Coruscant Underworld, that's my 3. Back over to you. What do you got?
My 3 is Mara Jade.
Which one is that?
Mara Jade she's the one that marries Luke Skywalker in kind of Legends right now. Isn't canon yet.
Do not know her.
She was an assassin who became Palpatine's right-hand man. And she was a smuggler, and then she was sent to kill Luke Skywalker after Palpatine's death in Return of the Jedi. She's Force sensitive as well, and she met Luke, and they ended up actually falling in love instead of her killing him. So kind of, you rarely see the female assassin falling in love with the victim that she's supposed to kill. It's usually the male assassin falling in love with the victim that he's supposed to kill. But yeah, they get married. She took his last name, but she had her son was in essence Ben. So you'd have to probably change that around eventually. But it could be about her, what her life was like before she got together with Luke. Or you could even do the Luke with Mara Jade. But I think the Mara Jade thing on her own would be interesting to explore. Once again, the female perspective, this thing being part of the Empire, being a Force sensitive person, being connected to Palpatine, all of that. What's her relationship with Vader? Everything like that would be so interesting for sure, in my opinion, to get Mara Jade to be a part of this. And a lot of people love her. She was created by Timothy Zahn in what are now the Legends novels, because she hasn't been brought over yet in this. And then she gets redeemed, of course, through her love of Luke. So she gets to see here's Luke yet again involved in changing someone from the dark side into the light side, so it could reinforce what Luke was supposed to represent. And not that I haven't, I'm on both sides of the fence with the Luke Skywalker thing in the Last Jedi. One part of me really likes what Rian Johnson did.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of the things that it's interesting, at least.
Yeah, because you get older and you're not 20 anymore, you're not 30 anymore. You're more grizzled. You're more like we saw with Saw Gerrera. War changes you. The idea of it's films and all the stuff that makes it seem like you're a hero until you're dead. Sometimes you can't be. Sometimes war does change you, especially someone like Luke, who at a certain point to move. But then the other side is I loved seeing what we saw in The Mandalorian. It's like, can we get more of that down the road? Is that the time with Mara Jade and everything like that? So that could be interesting to explore as well. But a lot of people love her and think she's pretty awesome. And I agree. I would love to see more of that explored from her point of view, kind of like with Saj Ventress, the idea of the female point of view of the Empire side, and then the change into being a Jedi, how love can change, because it was Luke's love for his dad that ended up changing him back. It could be love that changes Mara Jade, and then what happens from there, so just something
it's interesting. I didn't know she existed, so
yeah take a look or do some exploring on that, see if you like the character. It's pretty cool. So yeah. All right, what's your number 2, man?
My deuce is Yoda.
That is my deuce, son. Yoda.
Just he's what, 900 years old when we meet him. Pretty sure he's got a story in there, because you could say it's like, oh, he was in a lot of the earliers, and my top 2 kind of went against what I brought up before. We know a decent amount of their backstory. But Yoda's so old. It's like we haven't scratched the surface. We don't even know what race he is, do we?
Right. No, not yet. Nope. We haven't been told.
Yeah, because there's only 3 that we've ever seen. Yoda, what is it, Deo, or
Yeah.
Doya,
Yeah.
and now Grogu.
Right.
Um,
You mean the
they're
female
mating.
Yoda? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh
Is it
yeah. Yaddle.
Yaddle?
Yaddle.
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 Yeah. I was like, Dayo, are you doing the banana boat song? I got
I
lost
thought
for a
it was
second.
just the flip. It was Yoda and like Dayo. They just flipped around like ever so slightly.
I
So
love
they're
it.
almost mirrors of one another. Just there's got, I mean,
Oh yeah, dude.
he has 900 years worth of stories.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it's limitless potential. So that's why I wrote it in my head. I was like, well, you could do 27 seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much to explore with Yoda. 1,000%. That's why I put him at number 2 as well. What's his journey been like? Because Yoda carries the weight of the mistakes that they made with Anakin through the prequel trilogy. By the third film, he is full on admitting that they misjudged the situation and shouldn't have done the things that they did. That maybe that's what spurred Anakin into the situation that he's in, And so, what are all let's see a young Yoda who's tripping up himself, who's making mistakes himself. How does he learn from them? Or was he born an old soul? And so he always felt kind of out of place with everybody else because he kind of had that advanced intelligence about a situation. All of that would be fun to explore with Yoda. 1,000%. I would love to see it.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. Because you can do so much, right? I mean, are there other apprentices? Did he train other Jedi? Why was he so resistant to train Luke? And of course, you can connect that to Anakin now in retrospect with the prequel trilogies. With Anakin, maybe he didn't want to train another, but like there could be more to explore here, and Kenobi and all of that. So for sure,
yeah.
Cool. All right. So then, what's your one, man?
Number 1 is Darth.
Yeah. Same.
I've been saying it for so long now. Like, what series would you love to see of Star Wars? Be like, Darth, I want to see him hunting Jedi. That's precisely what I want to see at all times. Mm-hmm. So when we did this, and I was like, all right, well, he already knows my number 1, which is Darth. Mm-hmm. I assumed it would be in your top 3 to 5, somewhere in that. I was like, I'm pretty sure he has the same fascination with the idea that I do.
Yeah.
It's no brainer. I don't need anything else.
Yeah.
I just need to see him hunting Jedi, and that can go on for like 2-3 seasons.
Right.
And good to go. But I think that would be, I would pay extra to get that series. Just so you know, Disney.
I agree with you 1,000%. I think so too. He's like, like hunting down Jedi, doing it, but also in the comic book series that has come out, it's been out for a while now. Mm-hmm. He is constantly being threatened by the Emperor. So
he's got to undermine him.
Right. He's always bringing in new possible competitors mm-hmm. for his favor. So what is that experience like for Vader at the same time that he's hunting down Jedi? We've seen in the comic book as well, his possible hinting in his own mind that Luke could be around, Luke could be alive. What's his relationship with Boba and so many other people? So yeah, Vader is just a wealth to explore, and getting him in Rogue One, both at the end and in that scene with Orson Krennic on Mustafar, just those are great scenes. And you're just amazing. Like, give me more. Yeah. When he shows up in Rebels, you're like, oh my God, give me more. So there's a lot to explore with him, and a lot of the tragedy, and especially with an Ahsoka series now. What would a Vader series be like with Ahsoka knowing that Anakin is Vader, right? So that could be fun to explore.
It could be a tremendous amount of fun. Just all a
wealth of possibilities.
There's a lot there. There's a lot there to a character that, after all these years, you and I and quite a few people still find fascinating.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I am intrigued by Hayden Christensen coming back to do in the Obi-Wan series.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, I'm hoping the non-green screen environment for both of them mm-hmm. is fine, because at least you and Natalie and Sam Jackson, and because Hayden hasn't worked as much, but they've all been fine. It's not like it was detriment. They went downhill. Like, they were still good actors. It just seems like it was a weird situation.
Yeah.
So hopefully just be putting on the stage, and it's more like a play to some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
could be really excellent.
Well, there we go. That's our separate lists. We're going to combine them together into one list. I'm going to go grab the bongos, Matt. Forgot to pull them out for the show. Hold on.
Mm-hmm. All righty. So it goes Darth. It goes Yoda, and I mean technically Mace is now 4-8, but I can't say Mace is third highest. I'd rather see my Coruscant Underworld. I mean, you kidding me? Sopranos meets Jedis? Great. I'm in. Let's do it. Yeah, the Jabba series, I think.
All right.
All right, so 1 and 2 are done.
Yep, definitely.
The next we have in common is what? Mace at 4-8, but that seems high to put it at 3.
Okay.
So what's your 3 again?
My 3 is Mara Jade, which isn't known by you.
Yes. And mine's the Coruscant Underworld.
Yeah. Qui-Gon Jinn, Leia. Any other things we have in common? I guess that's the only.
It's just Mace. That's it.
Okay.
So do you want to flip a coin? Yeah, whoever wins gets next, and then Mace will go after those 2 selections.
Sounds good.
Okay. I've got the Batman Soups coin. So good luck to you.
Thank you. Same.
All right. Coruscant Underworld it is.
Not a surprise.
You won last week.
Someone put 34-31 in the comments that you're only ahead by 3. And I was like, that's absolute horseshit.
That's called the statistical likelihood of a coin flipping on one side or the other, so long as it's relatively balanced.
It's totally a lie.
That's not. We've done quarters. We've done this. There was only been one weighted coin ever. And my guess is because it was your hat added too much weight on that one side, which gave it more more mass, which means it's going to land on that side face down more often.
Okay. All right. Let's do this then. All right. So that's the course.
What was her name again? I can't remember.
Oh, Mara Jade. Mara space Jade.
Mara Jade. All right. And then Mace. So I've got my 4.
All right. Mace was my 4. So yeah, your 4 gets in there.
All right. Jabba goes. So then we both have our 5s.
Yeah. I have Qui-Gon Jinn.
I have Darth Maul. I'll grab the coin.
Oh, I thought the next person got the. Oh, okay. I thought that's. Woo. Warming up a little bit here.
All right. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Coin flip.
Tails.
No, it was the
other.
Yeah, it was the other coin. Qui-Gon takes it.
Oh, nice. A little 50-50 action. I like it.
All right, I have my 6. You have your 6?
I have Leia.
I have Grievous.
All right. Well, is that gonna
I think Leia.
Okay.
Oh, there's more intrigue there.
Very magnanimous of you. Thank you.
I do what I can.
Where are we at now?
That is it.
Oh, good.
We're good to go.
All right. So, okay. The top 10 Star Wars characters that deserve a TV show. Yeah. Sorry, my voice is kind of bad today. At number 10,
General Grievous.
At number 9,
Princess Leia.
At number 8,
Darth Maul.
At number 7,
Qui-Gon Jinn.
At number 6,
Jabba the Hutt.
At number 5,
Mace Windu.
At number 4,
Mara Jade.
At number 3,
Coruscant Underworld.
At number 2,
Yoda.
And our number 1 Star Wars character that deserves a TV show is
Darth Vader.
Darth
Vader.
Vader going once, Vader going twice. All right, there we go, Matt. That's our list. Good show here.
Damn good show, and we have at least one announcement. So we have a new perk, so to speak, for our patrons over at patreon.com/the top 10 with the number 10. Mm-hmm. So next month we're targeting the 18th. It is a Thursday. Mm-hmm. And we are going to do a private show. Basically, we're doing our next week's show, and our patrons at $10 and above can join the private stream and watch more than likely the chat will be open. You can chat along. We may or may not jump into the chat. I don't know. Maybe. See how we're feeling that day. But we're going to do that on the 18th. And we have another idea in the hopper as well. We got to shore up the schedules on those before we officially announce that. But hopefully by the time you hear the next show, we've got that. But anyway, the 18th, we're going to try and do that, 1 to 2 times a month going forward. Just let you guys sit in with us as we do the show, and then it gets released for everybody else 4 days later.
Yep. That's the approach we're having. Is we're going to do the dry run on the 18th, and if all goes well, that's going to be the stuff, the schedule going forward. 2 times a month, doing the top 10 show live for our patrons. And what $5 above, $10 above,
$10 and above,
$10 and above, you will get to watch us do the show live. And be in the chat. Maybe we'll bring some of your comments in as we go along, depending on how the show is going along. And then maybe we'll bring in some of you in live after the show is done, for maybe during the half hour after the show, and hear what you guys thought about the show. And that will be the audio that we drop for the rest of our fans that following Tuesday. So that's how we're doing this here. And we want to have more interactivity with our fans, because we can't do our live shows on, like in your town. But this is our way of kind of doing that for you all to watch. Yeah.
And Golden Ticket is, almost complete. So we're trying to think of other ways to give back, to give you something new, something different. So sit in with us and watch us do a show. And then if you aren't a patron, but you listen to the audio anyway, it's not going to affect you. The show still comes out Tuesdays like it always does. It's just we're giving access to starting on the 18th of next month. And then more than likely it's going to be great. So we'll start doing it a couple times a month.
Absolutely.
I can't imagine what the fuck is going to happen. We're going to be like, that's it. Like, I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. You guys are mean.
And you could do that right above my head there, patreon.com/the top 10. Go and sign up. $10 tiers and above. That's another perk you get for being a part of the top 10 Patreon, for sure. Yeah.
And, we're working on other things. We'll have an announcement on a second one that we have. Hopefully by next week. We just got to shore up, schedules.
Yeah, absolutely.
And but we're excited. Hopefully you enjoy watching it. It's kind of the modified version of the live show, which you brought up. I think that's it. So the 18th of the next month, for those that support us 10 and above, our thanks to you, and we hope you enjoy it, and looking forward to that. And the next week, we'll have our shout outs. We've got our Boss Hog topic to close out the month, and our usual patron benefits coming that way. And you can follow me anywhere at Matt Nost, and please check out my other my other show, Settle the Score, or if you're into basketball, Dropping Dimes, but you can find all of that on my Twitter at Matt Nost.
There you go. You can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. And of course, don't forget, for those of you who only listen to us on the podcast feed, we have a YouTube channel. So go and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, youtube.com. Somewhere, the top, just type in the top 10 and put our names in, and the YouTube channel will come up. Subscribe to it. Watch the shows there. Watch our pretty faces talking about movies. Hit the like buttons. Leave comments. All of that really important to elevate the visibility of the channel and the shows that we're doing there. And put a few pennies in our pockets, because it's a monetized channel. You can also follow me at my YouTube channel, youtube.com/John Rocha Says. Get involved with stuff I'm doing there. And of course, my other 2 podcasts, The Cinephiles and The Geek Buddies. So get involved in all that, listen to all that stuff. So much fun. All right. Thanks everybody for watching or listening to this episode of the Top 10. And we'll see you next time for another brand new episode. Take care.